So this is part two of how to use Google Classroom. If you missed part one, make sure you go ahead and watch that video first. We go over how to create a classroom and how to get students to join that classroom. You can see, I'll put it as a card in the top right hand corner here. But yeah, today we're going to go over how to create assignments, and what that looks like on the teacher's end and the student's end, and then we're going to go over how to adjust some of the settings here. You can kind of go and mess with. We're also going to go over the people tab too, so that's kind of what we're going over in part two here. Let's get started. Now we're going to go to the next tab. It's called Classwork, and here you get some information. You can go to your Google Calendar. You can have a class drive folder if you want to, but we're going to focus on creating classwork. So if we click create, we have a couple different options here. You can have an assignment. You can have a quiz assignment, questions, materials, all of that. The most prominent one is probably going to be an assignment. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. So if we click on this, we get a bunch of different options. So the first is the title of the assignment, and we can say so that's the title, and here we can say we can list out the instructions, and you can manually type in here. You can add a file, maybe you've written up in Word. You can attach the file here so people can go there and see the whole thing, all the instructions, and again, some other stuff you can link to as well. Or you can just copy and paste it over or write it right here. So I'm going to say, you probably want to be more descriptive than that, but this is just an example. So as you can see, it's automatically saving itself in the top right hand corner here as we go along and do this. Now we have a bunch of options over here. So we can say, who is this for? This is for my technology class. If I had other classes, I could hit the drop down and click more. And now we have, who are we going to assign this to? Probably all students. And then you have points. You can say ungraded if you want to, or you can make it 10 points or however else. And you can go, and there's more grade settings if you want to weight them and stuff in the settings, and we'll go over that in a second. I'll show you where that is, but we'll just keep this at 100. So it's up to you how many points you want to make this assignment worth. And then due date, let's go ahead and we'll select, we'll say it's due in a week, right? You can put a time. It's going to default to basically midnight, but we'll say 5 p.m. So there we go. And then topic, you can create a topic from right here if you want to. I won't now, but that's up to you just for more control. And then there's a rubric. So if you click on rubric, you can create a rubric, reuse a rubric, or import one from Google Sheets if you have one. And if you click create rubric, you see you get a bunch of different options here to kind of create a digital rubric. You can sort it by ascending or descending. You can add another section here, or if you go up, you can add more here too. So you get a bunch of different options, and then if you ever want to delete one, you hit the 3 dots and hit delete. And if you want to delete a whole section, you just find the section. And you can move it up and down if you want, or you can duplicate it or delete it. That's what we're going to do. So you can go ahead and make a rubric here if you want to. That's totally up to you. We're going to exit out of that. And if you do create that rubric, the students should be able to see it. Now, so we've kind of created our assignment here. We can click assign, Or if we click the drop down arrow, the top right, we can assign it, we can schedule it, save it as a draft, or discard the whole thing. So if I want to come back to it later, I can save it as a draft, but I can also schedule it for some time, and that's when it will release, and your students will get a notification on Google Classroom that an assignment has been posted. So we're just going to go ahead and assign it right now. There we go. So now in here, we're in the technology class, we're in Classwork, we can see the assignment here, we can click on it, we can see 0 have turned it in, and this is how many people have been assigned to it. So that's pretty easy, kind of gives you some quick information of who's turned it in, who hasn't. You can click and you can see who's turned it in and who has not. It's been assigned to him. We have no one who's turned it in and no one who's graded it or anything. So it would show you more options here. So if we go back, here we go. Now if we go to people, so we're going to move on from assignments and go to people. From here are the teachers. So this is kind of where I said if you want to add the students manually, you totally can. So if your school is set up with G Suite education accounts for the students as well, this is pretty easy. If you have a list of those emails, you can go and add the students manually, or again, you can send out that code. It's whatever you want. You can also add other teachers too, again, via email. And the students, you just hit the add button and you can go ahead and invite them. And if you click the 3 dots on a student, you can email a student individually. So that's up to you. And if we select Bob and we hit actions, we can email, remove, or again, mute. Remember, mute from before in the stream on kind of that message board. We could mute them. You can also mute them in here too. So if you need to mute multiple students, just go ahead and check multiple students. The ones you want to mute, click the 3 dots, mute them. You can also sort it from A to Z. Now we're going to go to grades. We don't have anything in here yet, but you can see you'll have your assignments here, and then you'll have their grades here. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to grade an assignment after Bob goes and turns one in. Okay, so we'll go over that in a second. The next thing I want to go over is if you go into the settings gear, so no matter kind of what tab you are on, you can go ahead and hit the settings gear. You can see the class information, the class details, you can always go and change. See the class code, you can display, you can copy it, you can reset it or disable it. So if you have to kick a student out of a class and they keep rejoining it because they have that code you sent out, you can reset the code, kick them out, now they can't get in. Stream, again, the message board thing, you have students can post and comment. If you click on this, you get a few more options here. Students can only comment, or only teachers can post and comment. So that's up to you, depending on how you want to set those settings, but they're right in here for the class. And you get more options for the classwork and everything. You can go through some of those on your own, but the big thing here is grading. You get a bunch of different options kind of here for grading, depending on how you have your class at every thing set up. So you can have overall grade calculation. You have a few options for that. You can have total points. It can be weighed. It can be no overall grade. Up to you, but you should go ahead and make sure you adjust that to whatever you want. And you can have show overall grades to students. You can have that on or off. It's up to you. Total points. Do that, and then you can add grade categories too. So again, when we were in assignments and creating assignments, we saw the category there. You can make specific categories here and define how many points they are. So you can have tests, quizzes, PowerPoints, whatever type of assignment you're giving them. You can put categories here, and then in that assignment spot, when you're making the assignment in the category spot, you can add this category. It'll show up in that menu, so that way you don't have to mess around changing the points, or going, oh, this is another quiz, I can't remember how many points I usually make quizzes or whatever. You can go ahead and just use the categories if you want to, and then you can remove categories too. And then make sure you hit the save button whenever you do anything in here. If the save button is blue, make sure you click it so it saves your settings across the board. So that's going to do it for part 2 of this series. We went over how to make assignments, add more people, what that kind of looks like on the student's end when they need to look up their assignments and things like that, how to adjust some of the main settings here, like maybe your grading scale and stuff like that. So yeah, there are going to be more parts to this video coming out soon, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you'll know when those are uploaded to the channel. Yeah, I hope this helped.